Menta kasngi Lamphang jong Ïing Dorbar thau Ïing ke jylla oba medba lingdo hag jingadon lang menteri ramba ke jylla o konrat ke sama unang ilam kaliang persya u Dr. Mukul sama bat ke MLE ulak Plie ya kedur jong Dr. Donkupar ha annex hor jong Ïing Dorbar ha bakren hag jingilang walingkot oba medba ulong pakala la bende da ke jingdon bok ni ke jing sniu bok hende ha ke jing hisya kalong bo Dr. Donkupar di tamu balak khat na kapor badan hag syuki ke Lamphang ke jylla badai halor kani balak Plie ya kani kedur jong hapo ke Ïing Dorbar ulapan pau ya ke jing angnot balak Plie no ru ya ke Ïing Dorbar thau Ïing ke batmai ya ke balak bu thong bandap haga bokot jong snam arajar arkuwe da ke bau long balak kentu ya ke sarkar ban ai ya ke jing kersan balak ban pendap ya ke Ïing Dorbar ke balak bu por ulong ba ke jing bu sa kan mau ya kedur jong Dr. Donkupar kalong ke jing sedang bat na kaliang ke Ïing Dorbar kan bu ru ya ke dur jong borok ke Lamphang bat ke sembut Lamphang ke belalet no na ke jylla ha ke Ïing Dorbar batmai shwa ya kini la yoru ya ke jingkren no menteri ramba ke jylla belapan pau ya ke jing saukmen bau Lamphang ula ban bu ya ke dur jong Dr. Donkupar kum ke jing ai burom yo sinyang bau te no ngelam lo kan show ya ke jylla na kaliang no ngelam kaliang persya Dr. Mukul sama ulong bakalong ke ke bas ngautanat ban yo I ba ya ke dur jong Dr. Donkupar bari syong konor lala ban bu ha Ïing Dorbar dah ke bawah lapan kemaru ya kipor bola ya trelang buat Dr. Donkupar
the kind of knowledge that has been shared by him has really enriched me immensely. And we remained friends together. When he was the CM, I had the privilege to talk to him over the phone off and on, and he will get things done. And similarly, I reciprocated when I had the privilege from 2010 till 2018. Before the election, hey, you don't want me to come again, or give me this scheme, that scheme, that scheme. I used to say that. Ïing is not here. If Ïing is here, he used to be the witness. So that's the kind of rapport we used to have. The leader of the opposition and the CM. And that's how we continue to work. And when he chose to occupy the highest chair of this August House, the post of Speaker, and we were happy because he wanted to be Speaker also. He said, that is the chair I would like to occupy. At least that's the only chair that he claimed to have not been able to occupy. So there he was. But it's a sad thing that he left us early. Would have been happy to see him around us, and would have been definitely a source of lots of advice, suggestions for all of us, both ruling and opposition. And it's only therefore appropriate that we remember these leaders. We had the privilege of having illustrious leaders who have occupied the post of Speaker. And since this beautiful initiative is embarked upon by the Speaker, yes, as we shift to the new assembly building, I'm sure we should have the portrait of all the speakers, of the first speaker, till both those who have left us and those who are still living. I think that would be appropriate, including also the deputy speakers.
This was some time back that we had a sitting with the Honorable Speaker discussing about the new assembly building that is coming up. And we were discussing about the interiors of how the building should be, what kind of look it should have, and other aspects of things. And that's when the Honorable Speaker mentioned to me that like it's there in the Parliament, in the Lok Sabha and even in Rajya Sabha. So they have a corridor where they have got the pictures and portraits of all the speakers. So it will be nice to have a corridor or a space where we give homage and respect to these leaders who have held the highest post in our assembly, which would be not just respect to them, but more of a source of inspiration for the members as well as the future generation of the state. So it is in line with what the Leader of Opposition has mentioned, that this was a discussion, an idea that came out from the Speaker that day. And I'm very sure that today is the beginning of that process. I'm sure that this portrait will be taken to the new assembly building, and we will not just have Dr. Don's portrait, but we'll have the portrait, as mentioned, of all the speakers and other leaders also. I was also discussing with the Honorable Speaker that time, and he mentioned that not just the portraits of the speakers, but we should have some sections where even the history of the state, and important aspects of the state could reflect around in the assembly. If you in fact go to a lot of the parliaments in other parts of the world, they always have a history behind everything that is there. So they'll have some sections that talks about some war that was there, or some kind of an important event that took place in the history of that country. And I think the new assembly could in fact have those sections where our young children from schools could then go and see, experience, learn, and most importantly be motivated about being and understanding about governance, about legislation, and about how things happened in the assembly and the government and the history of the state as a whole.
In memory of our late Dr. Donkupar, who was the Speaker of this Meghalaya Legislative Assembly from 2018 till July 2019. Well, today we are gathering here to remember this great leader who has served the states for 7 terms in a row. It's unbelievable. I don't know how many of us will reach the 7 terms. 35 years. Winning an election is not an easy task for each and every one of us. But this great leader has displayed his character, displayed his love for the state as a whole. We are here to remember this great leader in unveiling the portrait, because he is the first speaker while in office who passed away. So it is really worth for us to remember this great leader. No doubt about it, we had many leaders in the past who have served the state at a capacity as the speakers. No doubt about it. But fortunately or unfortunately, he was the first speaker while in office who passed away. So, for us, and especially for me, after his demise, that I have to take over as the Speaker of this House. Every now and then I always seek the cooperation and support from all of you as my dear colleagues. I would like to see that the dream of this tall leader be completed. I would like to thank my Commissioner Secretary, Andrew, Secretary and all the officers for making this program today. And as I've said, that I would like to see the light of the day, that the construction of the new assembly building be completed before we celebrate the 50 years of our statehood. We don't know much about the past, but efforts have been made to see where the new assembly building will be constructed. But I have to thank Dr. Don for taking the initiative to see that the construction of the assembly building starts immediately without any delay. I still remember that some friends, colleagues have suggested him that, Mr. Speaker, let us inaugurate a foundation stone. He outrightly refused to do so. And instead, he said, let us do the inauguration after the completion of the construction. I think this is what we have to learn. For me, which I'm sure, especially friends in the UDP, though friends from other political parties, as like what mentioned, stated by the Honorable LO, Dr. Mukul Sangma, the Chief Minister, Honorable Kesama, I'm sure with all of you. Your experience, you have shared with him, and I'm sure that you must have learned a lot of things also from this gentleman. He is a visionary. He has a vision with him. And he always loved to listen. He loves to hear what others speak, rather than him speaking. I always get very angry sometimes when I chat with him, try to get something from him, but at the end of the day, I will not get anything from him. But this is also learning. Though he don't speak, but his silence taught us what we have to and what we should. So, I feel very privileged to be here together with the Chief Minister, Conrad, Leader of Opposition, Dr. Mukul Sama, and all of you, that we would like to unveil the portrait of late Dr. Donkupar.